Hello there. Welcome to week 2 of English 102. I wanted to go over a few of the things that we are working on this week so you have a good understanding of the expectations of the assignments and the topics that we are talking about this week. So week 2 is exploring grammar. Each week is set up pretty similar. It'll be helpful for you to kind of get into a routine at the beginning of the week. When the week is open, which opens every Sunday, you'll want to get started with looking at the lecture. That's the first thing that's in each week's module. Okay, so we have week 2 open right here, and it gives you the outcomes. We're talking about advanced rules for grammar mechanics, verb tenses, sentence structure, subject verb agreement. All of this is going to be in the lecture. And this will help kind of polish up some of those things that maybe you have forgotten or maybe didn't learn correctly the first time. But this is the topic that we're going to be talking about. These grammar topics, and then you're also going to have a quiz over them. So it's always best to start with the lecture. Okay, and then this will help you meet course outcomes 1 and 2. So the first thing, there are 2 different ways that you can access the lecture. The first way is this interactive lecture that you can click on and do some activities and those types of things. And I have it pulled up here. So if you click on it, it'll look similar to this each week. So you can select begin. It starts at the very beginning. And then it's going to go through each of these topics. So the first topic is verb tense. There's a little introduction, and you keep just kind of scrolling down. If you can see, I'm scrolling down. Hit the continue button. It's giving you the different types of information. There's past, present, and future. And then if you notice, and this is kind of the interactive part, you can click on these. They're like little flashcards. So the past verb tense, it gives you an example, something that had happened previously. She was driving. So the verb here was, it took place in the past. It could be very recent past, like 2 minutes ago. She was driving 2 minutes ago. It could be years ago past. She was driving 10 years ago. He was walking on the beach. So you can go and click back. So it's a little bit of a review. So you can do those. And then there's the 4 different types of tenses. And then you just kind of keep continuing through this.
Today you will learn about the 12 verb tense forms.
Yeah, so and then there's a little video to watch, so there's lots of
tense.
interaction that you can do, and then there's always some activities. So you can see down here, so if you want to go back and review some of the things, you can say, oh, I want to go back to verb tense, I didn't understand that, so you can hit that, and it gives you the progress of what you've completed, and then there's always a practice activity. Okay, so I just wanted to review that. Remember I said there are 2 different ways to access the lecture. The first one is that interactive part, and then also sometimes people like to have something physical to hold on to. We're a virtual setting, so everything that you need is on your computer, access through the course through Blackboard. Sometimes people do like to have something tangible to hold on to. There's no textbooks that you have to purchase to hold for this class, but you could download the documents, or if it's just another way to view it. So it's the same thing, everything is the same thing, but it's in one document. So you could download it and print it off to have and to hold and be able to look at that. Or if this is just an easier way for you to view the topics, if you want to go back, like I said, sometimes students want to go back and review. So once the week has been open, then you have access to the lecture. So we're in week 2, you can go back to week 1 and look at the lecture if you want to, so you keep having that information. Okay, so I'm just going to click out of here. And we're still continuing with week 2. Every week we have a discussion, and every week there is a specific prompt that you'll be asked to write on in our thread. So we got lots of great discussion last week when everybody was introducing themselves. So I know that that's going to continue this week as well. So if you click on this to post, so you'll see what the topic is. So this, we're talking about the grammar and mechanics that you're going to be putting into place. So that is important to kind of put this into practice. And the workplace, of course, we will be having, you're going to be writing documents. And many of you may already be doing that where you're working now. So this is the topic for this week. Is looking at these different emails and what you already know or what you've learned in the week's lecture about making it a little bit better. Okay, so that is the discussion, and then here's that quiz that's going to be over the grammar lessons from the lecture. And then the other thing, this is a preview of an upcoming assignment. This is not due for week 2. It's just a preview. So if you click on this, it's going to have the link to a Word document, which has the directions. So important to note, this is going to be due in week 4. So the first few weeks, we're really reviewing the different writing strategies and the different grammar and mechanics to kind of polish up some of your skills and to be able to go into the writing assignment with remembering and just kind of getting our brains thinking about appropriate grammar for coursework and also for the workplace. So here you can click on the directions and it will download. On my computer there's a little download button you can see, and then go and click on that, but I already have it open here, I think. Yeah, so this is going to be due in week 4. So it's nice to start thinking about it now ahead of time, so you can start preparing, because this is an assignment that is our biggest project. So altogether, there are 3 pieces to this assignment, and that is worth 15% of your grade. So it's very difficult, virtually impossible to be able to pass the course without having this assignment completed. Okay, so the very first thing is a business writing assignment, and I'm going to go over what the topics are. And then the second part is the revised business writing assignment. So once in week 4, you're going to turn in your, really it's a rough draft, so you're going to turn that in. I'm going to read it and provide some feedback to you. And then along the way, each week, we're learning all of these grammar mechanics and different parts of the writing process and parts of revising and editing your own work. So then you'll have time to take the feedback that I've given you, and then also what you've been learning about revision, and work on revising that essay. So then you will write a revised business writing assignment, and then something that will go into your portfolio, your core portfolio, is the business writing reflection. So, and this reflection part is about the process that you went through writing. Reflecting is very powerful. Sometimes students kind of stumble on this at first and thinking like, I'm not sure what I'm reflecting on. But we're going through this writing process that, the expectations for the academic level, the expectations for the workplace. So reviewing your own work and what you have learned from the very beginning of turning in a rough draft. And there's a reason it's called rough, because it's not smooth. It's not supposed to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes. I make mistakes in rough draft. And sometimes it takes many drafts to get something completed, a written document. So looking at the process of writing that, going through the revision writing assignment, and thinking about the steps that you took, the things that you learned about the writing process that maybe you didn't know, or maybe I often have students that say, I had heard about this, but I'd never used it, but now I'm using it and it really makes a difference. Okay? So this is what we're going to be writing on starting in week 4. So that'll take us through the rest of the course. once we get started in this business writing assignment, well, that'll take us through the rest of the course. So it's pretty important, but now you can start thinking about it. Start thinking about what you want to write about. Start brainstorming some of the topics and how you're going to discuss it. All right. So because it's going to be a workplace scenario, but you're also going to be applying what you're learning as far as grammar and mechanics. Okay. So there are 3 writing prompts that you're going to choose from. So you're going to choose a situation that highlights your workplace capabilities and skills, even if it did happen to be outside of the workplace. You're going to address the prompt's question in a well-organized multi-paragraph format. You're going to include detailed explanations to support your answer. You want to review that, make sure, because this is going to be a professional document, okay? So you want to think about what is the language that you would use in a professional document, the tone that you would use. So we're going to be using, of course, standard paragraph structure. It's going to be about 550 words in length. And it's going to be on a Word document that gets uploaded, okay? So that's important to know. So this is a scenario that happened in your own life. You don't need to use any outside resources. In fact, I don't really want you to, because this is going to be your own writing. And one of the reasons we focus on this type of writing is I don't want you spending your time, researching and doing all that. We really are working on your writing skills. Okay. So here are the different prompts. You can read through them. I'm not going to read this to you because I know you know how to do that. But you're just going to pick one of these, okay? And then so you're going to be answering these questions and then being able to write about it, okay? And then here is a helpful template that helps you kind of set up what you're going to be writing about. And here are some example starting statements. So you're going to have 3 paragraphs, and this is what the paragraphs are going to look like. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. Every assignment that we have has a rubric. If you haven't used these before, it's very helpful. I think of it as a checklist, because when you are ready to submit your assignment, you want to double check on this rubric to be able to think about, do I have everything? Okay, one of the biggest parts of this document that you're going to be writing is grammar and mechanics, because we're putting a heavy emphasis on that, because that's what we're focusing on, improving your writing. The next part's going to be organization and examples. So this level 6, that's the highest level. So you want to start here on this left-hand side. Do I have very few errors or grammar or punctuation? And then the next section is my content well organized. Do I have enough details? Am I meeting the minimum words? And then is the content, is it appropriate? Because this is a workplace situation, would it be appropriate to talk about? So if you notice on this document, this is a Word document, I have these little things on here. If you have not used Grammarly, or if you've heard of it and haven't used it yet, I highly suggest that it is something that you can use as an extension, a Chrome extension, or just an extension to Firefox or any of the browsers that you're using. And it will, when you pull up documents, it will look at the document and say, hey, this is a possible problem. Okay, so and it's not 100% accurate, and it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Like the word that can be removed. The yellow is like a premium thing, and it's like, they'll give you ideas. But this is a way that you can get outside help, just even with your normal writing. You can do it if you're writing before you post your discussions. If you're putting that information into a Word document, it helps give you that. So you can link it all together, anything that you do online, and then also anything that you are writing for Word. So I highly recommend it. It's called Grammarly. You can just go to grammarly.com. Okay, so that's it for week 2. Each week, you have we always have a discussion, because that's kind of like that simulates if we were together in a brick and mortar classroom, then that would be our time that we would be discussing the topics and going back and forth. So make sure that you are following the discussion. If you remember all of the details starting this week, you need to be in the discussion board active and posting on 3 different days. You need to start with your initial post, and that is going to be 150 words or more that answers that question, and also spelling and grammar count. But the nice part in the discussion forum, there is that toolbar that can help you with your, there's one that'll check spelling. So be sure that you're using that. And then there's always at least 1 or 2 other assignments. So it kind of gets us into a routine. Anytime you have questions, feel free to email me, or you can use the message center that's in Blackboard now. So I'm happy to help. So have a great week too. I'll see you in class.